Good morning. Think small or die. What does that mean in economic development? Well, we say tropical fish and economic development, and those two are rarely ever linked. What do we typically think of with economic development? We see headlines, we see politicians who are all encouraged and excited about large-scale manufacturing recruitment, bringing large companies into the state. That's what makes the headlines, that's what makes the voters happy, so it gives us a feeling of accomplishment. However, economic development does a lot of things, but it seems to leave out the idea of the economy, specifically the development of the economy, and that's kind of strange, don't you think? So when we see economic development, what do we expect to happen with economic development? Total population changes, total employment changes, and then there's the big calf of manufacturing changes. You want to see jobs in manufacturing grow. We've been pursuing that for a very long time. So let's go back to the 1990s Mississippi and see where we were. Look at total population in Mississippi. Most of the areas are green. These are all 82 counties in Mississippi. Theme here is red is bad, green is good. You can see the Delta had some issues with people flushing out of the Delta. Some of the other counties had some population changes. But overall, we added 219,000 people in Mississippi, 219,000 new folks to Mississippi. Total change in employment, that's total jobs, that's every job in the state of Mississippi. Same time frame. Had a number of counties that showed some job loss, but for the most part, we gained jobs in Mississippi. We added 217,000 new jobs in Mississippi in the 1990s. Manufacturing employment. Manufacturing employment started to see some suffering back in the 1990s. Manufacturing employment was declining. You saw 42 of the 82 counties lose manufacturing jobs. Total of 1% of the manufacturing jobs in Mississippi left. That's about 2,500 jobs or so, 2,500 manufacturing jobs. But that's okay. We have a strategy and a plan for recruiting manufacturing back to Mississippi. Let's see how that went. 2000 to 2016, that 16-year time frame, we went awfully red. Our population went from a 10% growth to less than a 5% growth. Our total jobs, in 2016, we had 12,000 fewer total jobs in Mississippi than we had in the year 2000. Manufacturing jobs, you can see that's pretty stark. We had 5 counties that actually grew manufacturing jobs, centered mostly around Toyota and Nissan. We went from a 1% decline in manufacturing employment to a 39% decline in manufacturing employment. In that 16-year time frame, we lost 90,000 manufacturing jobs in the state of Mississippi. Did you see that headline anywhere? That strategy, I don't believe, is still working. So why is this happening? And number one, we did suffer from a rather large natural disaster and a pretty big setback with our national recession in that time frame, 2005, 2008. So there's some things that set us back, but we still should have recovered. Our employment numbers, we can see a big dip in that time frame during the recession, but we've come back from a lot of that, so we're fully employed. We just don't have as many jobs. Manufacturing is declining in its jobs because they are looking for cost savings wherever they can get it. New logistical models, new things that reduce the actual number of jobs in manufacturing, and that's something that is playing a big part in that. But the biggest part of that is we are doing our economic development practice nearly exactly the same as we have done for decades. I have right here another little prop. This is let's call it an 80-year-old website for economic development. This is a booklet, Chamber of Commerce booklet from my hometown in Natchitoches, Louisiana, published in 1937. In this booklet, you're going to find everything. If you took this right now and put it on a website, all you'd have to do is update the numbers, because the information in this website, the desired outcome is the same, the numbers are the same, the things that they emphasize are the same. There's no difference. The way we go about doing economic development as a practitioner has not changed in at least 80 years. And I guarantee you, it didn't take them one day to put this together. So it's got to be over 100 years old. Let's talk about some economic development strategies so we can start understanding where we are and what economic development is all about. The traditional model is the top-down model. We're going to go out, we're going to recruit a big plant into our community, and the economy will follow. Ancillary suppliers, retailers, people are going to be coming from all over who are either unemployed or underemployed. They're going to move to our community, and they're going to have jobs in these factories. That was a great mantra in 1937. It's not so much these days. People are not doing that. The top-down model, we're going to call whale hunting, going out there and finding those whales and bringing them in. So the more innovative approach to this is called the bottom-up method. We consider this going out there and creating a better community for the people that are there and start attracting human beings to our community so that the jobs grow from the inside out, so that the creation of wealth happens internally, and these people don't have an innate desire to go find wealth somewhere else. They grow from the inside out. We're going to call this tropical fish, all right? So Oxford, Mississippi, where I found my new home, has been doing this tropical fish development for the past 32, 35 years. Going back to the 1980s, Oxford chose to go after making a better community, not going after major employers, not going after the whales out there. The reasons they did this was because, number one, when you go out and you chase these large whales, there is a huge incentives package that is typically attached to those large whale projects. My friend Joe Max Higgins in Columbus openly talks about buying deals. Economic development is all about buying the right deal for your state. When you look at the tropical fish, we have grown a number of great companies that have not asked for or even received or even thought about incentives. The incentives they get are growing their jobs and creating wealth amongst themselves. How is that strategy working for Oxford so far? Remember, we've been doing it for about 30 years. These numbers speak for themselves. We've got population increases, assessed value increases, total employment. Our manufacturing jobs are down a little bit, 5%, but the state, it was down 39% in the same time frame. We're growing our manufacturing just as fast as we're growing everything else in that community. And it's proving out that if you pay attention to the quality of your community, you attract human beings and tropical fish to your community, it pays off. But you don't have to take my word for it. There's an organization out there called Polycom.com. Polycom takes a look at metropolitan statistical areas and micropolitans and then ranks them. The micropolitans are roughly 551 in 2017 nationwide. Ranks them from 1 to 551. This is a 10-year average of where Oxford has ranked in terms of economic strength by people that are much more attuned to studying these things than I am. Oxford was consistently ranked average of about number 32 out of 551. You can see the rest of the micropolitans of the state of Mississippi are not doing as well. And the state average, that black bar going across the middle, we've gone from a 307 average for our micropolitans to a 346 average. We're going the wrong way. So what tropical fish have we been able to put together and grow and nurture in our area? FNC. Bill Rayburn, are you in the room? Anybody that worked at FNC? There we go. FNC, Next Year Solutions, M-Trade. Those are all three technology companies that have grown out of Oxford. Now, they did this on their own. I'm not saying that economic development or the economic development practitioner did any of this. They did it themselves. But the environment was right for them to do it. They were encouraged to make that happen. Keep in mind that with any economic development strategy, you've got to be holistic and diverse in everything that you do. So there's three manufacturers, two of which, Cotton's Cafe and No Time to Cook, started and grew in Oxford, Mississippi. They've come out of that on their own. Now, the odd one there is Winchester Ammunition. Everybody knows about Winchester. Everybody knows how big of an employer they are. Why would they be considered a tropical fish? When Winchester came to Oxford, Mississippi, they promised 150 jobs. That's it. 150 jobs. We jumped on that. We said that's something we want because it's not going to threaten the existing workforce for our other manufacturers, and we feel like it's a big enough company that they will grow. They found a home, and guess what? Now they employ 10 times that. They're almost at 1,600 employees in Oxford, and they're still growing. They are still a tropical fish. When you grow your tropical fish locally, they can and will turn into whales. So, what can we do about this? What are the things that an economic developer, as a practitioner, can go out there and do to make the tropical fish thing happen? Recruitment of people. That's the most important thing out there. You know, we tend to think about business as some sort of anthropomorphic entity that is out there, creating jobs and growing the economy. But the reality is, people, you guys. FNC isn't a company. FNC is the people that did the things that they did to create that company and create the jobs. If we spend more time recruiting people, human beings to our community, they will bring the jobs. They will grow the jobs on their own. We've got to make sure that they're happy there, make sure that they want to stay there, make sure that we are encouraging them to grow through whatever project, whatever program, whatever way we feel is most appropriate to keep those individuals growing their companies in our community. Once you get the people there, and once they grow their business, you got to support them. There is no better incentive for any company than local support. If the people around you believe that you are going to be there and you're going to be successful, and you know those people, you go to church with those people, you've been to school with those people, whatever the case may be, that company is going to grow and it's going to flourish and they're going to create jobs and they're going to create money that goes around in your economy. And by the way, they can expand beyond your community and start bringing money in from somebody else's community. Support everything local. It's very, very important that you do that. This is probably the most important and the hardest one to do. Communicate. You got to communicate. You've got to find common ground on issues. Every community's got issues. Everybody has a problem in their community that they can't seem to fix. They've got something in there, two guys disagree. Young, old, black, white, anything that can get in the way of communication will happen. You've got to find a way to do that. In the book Good to Great, they talk about the flywheel concept. The more people you get turning that flywheel, the easier it gets to turn and the faster it goes. But this is one of the most important things that you can do, is find the common ground, create a strategic plan, and stick to that strategic plan. And this is something that is a little bit controversial, but it's something I call the give a damn factor. I go to so many communities everywhere where I see so little give a damn, it's frightening. You see areas that are beautiful and wonderfully developed right next to parts of the town that are in despair. You see litter. You see broken fences, broken street signs. You get lousy customer service at restaurants and hotels. You get people who are just not worthy or not willing to give a damn so that the bar gets raised. And that gets much more infectious. If you don't give a damn about your community, who is? If you aren't out there making sure that guy the business you're supporting isn't getting all the support they can get, you don't give a damn. So if you pay attention to the little things, if you pay attention to the things that really can change things, big things can happen. So give a damn. That's one of the most important things I can think of. These are some very basic things. These are things that everybody can do. These are things that economic development has not embraced as part of our practice, but it's something that everybody's got to do. We consider this innovative. Sometimes innovation is getting back to the basics and doing the simple things, making things less complicated. Thank you very much.